Last week, I was in a cafe and I saw a tourist walk up to the counter and ask pour un café. And he got a tiny little cup like this. And he looked at it and he said, "Where's the rest?" And I thought we need to talk about this. So today, the 7 mistakes tourists make en France. Allons-y, I'm Gabrielle. This is Petite Mémé, my puppy. And I live in Paris and I share the real France with you on this channel. The things most locals know and not everyone talks about. If this interests you, go ahead and subscribe because a lot of you who watch these videos aren't subscribed yet. It really encourages me in making these videos for you. I think every country has their own coffee culture. Having grown up in a few countries in Asia, I've clearly seen that and loving to travel. But French coffee culture really has its own. It's not Starbucks, it's not chain. It's something very specific to us. There are all these little unspoken rules. How you order, when you order, where you sit. And if you don't know, it stands out. Grab a drink and let me show you. The first one, ordering un café. Ordering un café en France, it means ordering an espresso. It's like this in France and a few other countries that growing up in Asia as well, when we say un café, a coffee, a lot of people expect it to be like an Americano or just a larger cup of coffee. If you want something that is closer to what is considered a regular coffee back home, you can order un café allongé. So un café allongé is an espresso with hot water, and it's what resembles the most to a cup of coffee back home. Since we're already here, let's go through the French coffee menu, because why not? Pourquoi pas? So that it's a little more clear and so that you know what is sur la carte, what is on the menu. The names are probably a little different than what you'd expect. Un noisette, an espresso with just a tiny splash of milk, c'est très bon. The name means hazelnut because of its color, so you can ask for un noisette. Un café allongé, an espresso with hot water. Un café crème is an espresso with steamed milk on the top. Très français, très parisien. Un grand crème is the same thing, just bigger. Un déca is short for décaféiné, which means decaffeinated. Those are the basic ones. There are other ones, but they're really the ones that you need to know. So if you're planning a trip to France or you want to understand French the way people actually speak, because when I travel, I really want to know how people actually speak in that language. So when I traveled to Japan, I realized it wasn't through textbooks, but it was through looking at real life videos. So that's why I want to tell you about Lingopai. Lingopai teaches you French through real TV shows, real movies. You hear the word that's being used, you see the situation and kind of stick. You can actually click on any word on the translation and the subtitles so you know what it means and you can get an instant translation. Every word gets saved to your personal vocabulary list, and because you learned it in a scene, you actually remember it. You don't just remember the word, you remember the moments. Actually, how I'm currently learning Japanese and another language right now, not from a textbook, but actually from real moments. And that's exactly what Lingopai does for French as well. The link is in my description and you can try it for free. And speaking of knowing the rules, let me show you the next one, because this one also comes down to knowing when. The next point is not a mistake at all, it's just mostly what French people do. Like Milky coffee en France is more a morning thing. After the morning, it's usually un café, or if you really want a touch of milk, you can ask for un noisette. Like a full latte at 4 or 5 p.m. I mean, I could not. I would be awake all night. Kind of like ordering pancakes for dinner. Tu peux le faire, you can, but it's not very usual. The next one is where to stand to have coffee. So it's amazing because in France, and I think in other countries as well, there's the option to have your coffee at the table, but there's also the option de l'avoir au comptoir. What's really crazy is that I didn't know this before moving to Paris. There are 2 prices. So there's actually a price that you can have it à table, or that you can have it au comptoir. I had never heard of this, j'avais jamais entendu parler de ça. The same espresso, 1,50 € au comptoir at the counter, 4 or 5 euros at the table. I guess it kind of makes sense because like where you sit, you're taking up space, you're taking up time, you're probably gonna stay there longer. Kind of is charging you for the experience, but of course not every place is like this. A lot of locals do this, they don't have too much time, so they have their café au comptoir. They just stay there for like few minutes and then they say bonne journée and they go ahead with their day. If it's un weekend ou un jour férié, you definitely want to spend more time, so you just want to have a seat and just people watch, which is our national sport in Paris. We love to people watch on terraces. If you really want a quick coffee and you don't necessarily want to take it to go, you can stand at the counter. It's faster, it's sometimes cheaper, and it's pretty local. Next on asking for coffee to go. So this is a very big one that is kind of starting to be more common, but it's still not that common. I would say it's chains like Starbucks that really introduced this concept in Paris and in France, where you take things to go. And I get it because I like it as well, especially in summer, pendant qu'il fait chaud, il fait beau, you want to go outside, you want to sit in the parks, you want to sit on the bench. So you do see paper cups in some cafes now. The traditional ones with the kind of zinc counter, old mirrors, the ceramic cups. There isn't really a to-go culture, you know, you drink it there. In some places, the coffee is really part of the place. You want to spend time there, but I think it's quite obvious on the outside if it's a place that has most people sitting indoors or if they really have a to-go section or stand. Next is ordering café au lait in a cafe. So café au lait is very different from café crème. It confuses a lot of people when they order it. Actually, café au lait is kind of like this big bowl that you put with hot milk and with your coffee. Et mon grand-père faisait ça tous les week-ends, tous les dimanches. So il se faisait un gros café au lait, and then he would buy une ficelle, which is a very thin baguette, and he would cut it in half et il mettait du beurre, put butter all over it, avec soit de la crème de marron, soit de la confiture, and he would dip it inside and he would eat it. Honestly, I didn't like café au lait, so I never made it, but I had chocolat chaud, I remember, and I would do exactly the same thing. C'était trop bon. Café au lait is in a big bowl at home in the morning. You know, it's private, it's cozy, it's something that you make at home. But if you want a milky coffee, you can order for un café crème that we learned earlier. If you're finding these useful, make sure you've subscribed because I have so many more of these French etiquette and local tips videos coming out. And the next one is something we've looked over actually in my other etiquette videos, is of course when you walk into a cafe, no matter if you want to stay there or if you want to take it to go, you absolutely need to say bonjour to open the conversation. Bonjour, pause, un café s'il vous plaît. I have seen people just say un café or just un café s'il vous plaît. It sounds very demanding and kind of rude. You say bonjour, you order merci, bonne journée. That's the complete cafe interaction. The next part is tipping. So it's a very big hot topic all over the internet and people have asked me a lot about tipping. In France, service is actually already included in the price. Service compris, it says it on the menu. You're not expected to pay 10% or 15% service tax. But what you can do is actually you can round it up a little. Like for example, if you bought something, an espresso for 1,80 €, you can round it to 2 euros. Or if it was 2,40 €, you can round it to 2,50 €. It's like a nice gesture and they really appreciate it. If you really like the service, there's nothing wrong and they'll love it if you leave 2 euros, 5 euros, or if you just round up your bill. So those are 7, I would say, coffee habits, coffee mistakes. What I find really interesting is that none of them are actually about the coffee itself. They're about understanding French culture and the rhythm of French daily life. It's a moment you have, 2 minutes at the counter in the morning, or an afternoon spent solo, people watching or catching up with someone. Mimi has joined us. And when you understand that, things make a lot more sense and you're going to realize like a lot of things in French culture are connected. Every cafe interaction starts with bonjour and ends with merci. The respect is from the beginning till the end. Now I want to hear from you. Are you a coffee lover and did any of these surprise you? What about where you're from? What are the coffee rules over there? Honestly, I think every country has its own cafe and coffee culture, and I really love hearing about the differences. If you want more of these French insider tips, I actually write a few more in my newsletter, which you can see in the description below. J'ai trop hâte. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Go ahead and subscribe because I love sharing my adventures here in French and in English. I'm also on Instagram. Merci beaucoup et à bientôt!